Hello everyone and welcome to the Overwatch League APAC Qualifiers. It's the final day to set your spot in the seeding for the knockout bracket. We have some incredible matches today and the whole gang is here, them too. It's Leg Day and Lemon Kiwi. We got Avril and Achilles covering the second match. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it is absolutely wonderful to be back, and back with a banger as well. We've got ourselves an absolute slobber knocker to start off your day today with Seoul Infernal, who are coming fresh off a victory against who everyone thought were going to be their favourites in the entirety of APAC, Guangzhou Charge, going up against the Hangzhou Spark, who many would laud as a Chinese super team.
Oh yeah, this is the battle for second place between these two teams. Seoul currently in second, Hangzhou in third, who have only experienced a loss to the Guangzhou Charge, who are sitting in first place. But speaking of the Guangzhou Charge, Seoul Infernal beat them yesterday. Spoiler alert, sorry y'all, it was a gigabanger of a game 5. The only way that Seoul can get first place is if they get a 3-0 today, and then it all depends on how the Guangzhou-Shanghai match goes. So last day, a lot of math going on.
Yeah, Seoul definitely going to be kicking themselves for their loss against the Seoul Dynasty in a 2-3 fashion. Right at the beginning, I believe, in week 1 of our APAC qualifiers here for our Spring Stage East. Of course, all of our teams will be qualifying for our knockout rounds, where they're going to be going up against a bunch of contenders' teams. And at some point today, I'm not willing to give you any exact time, because I don't know. There is going to be a bracket released for our knockout, so you know who's going up against what. Of course, we've got to sort out our seeding first, because, hey, it's still up in flux, Lemon, and, well, our top half at the moment is anybody's game.
Yeah, and it's important for seeding. I know everybody gets to go to the party, but who shows up first and on top is important, because you may get a bye into that first round the knockout bracket. The rules, they're coming out. But to get that bye, or to be able to go up against a contenders team instead of an Overwatch League team, is that advantage. We don't underestimate O2 Blast and the crazy teams coming out of the Pro-Am, but at least if you can go up against a team you know what to expect, it's maybe easier for you.
Yeah, it could be a little bit easier to get through. Of course, only 2 of our teams will be moving forward on to our Mid-Season Madness tournament itself, because only 2 APAC teams are representing. I think 4 teams from North America are going to be moving. But hey, while our teams are going to be fighting so much for the presence at the Mid-Season Madness, you don't have to fight for presence in the Mid-Season Madness. You simply have to exchange your currency for the ability to be there, because tickets are going to be going on sale for the Mid-Season Madness global tournament in Korea, which is going to be taking place in Kintex Goyang, I believe on June 15th through the 17th. And they'll be available from midnight on May 15th in that specific time.
Oh yeah, good luck getting those tickets. You gotta be up bright, or up late gamer hours, or bright and early if you're on the East Coast or Europe. Yeah, the Mid-Season Madness Global Tournament in Seoul. So if you're down to take a long flight all the way over there, it's gonna be an awesome time. And we're getting to see Pro-Am teams going up against the Overwatch League teams, and we saw on the North American side how exciting that was.
Yeah, we saw exactly how exciting it could be to have that kind of global competition, to have the in-between tiers competition. Everyone gets real excited, and the stakes raise a little bit when we're not just in our little insular bubbles of East and West in APAC, and of course over in North America too. Everyone likes to see the contenders teams involved, and when it becomes inter-regional, more and more pride comes on the line for the spectators. Everyone wants to see their own region pop off and rise to the top, and, well, we're also going to be able to see that later this year as well with the Overwatch World Cup, which is going to be a doozy. I'm really looking forward to that. But before we think about things like that, we've got to think about the immediate seeding. Here are our standing thumb, and Guangzhou Charge are sitting pretty at the top, but they can be challenged with some contrived circumstances.
Yeah, just to bring those up one more time, the Seoul Infernal faced the Hangzhou Spark in our first match. Seoul need to 3-0 to fight for that first place. Hangzhou Spark, there's no way for them to get first place, but if they win, they can grab and steal the second place from the Seoul Infernal. So that's why I kind of set this first match of Seoul versus Hangzhou as that battle for second. Seoul, if they get the 3-0, it'll depend on how Guangzhou and Shanghai Dragons duke it out as our second and final match of the day. Barring some kind of crazy upset from Shanghai, Guangzhou should be in a good position to stay in first place today.
Yeah, Seoul Dynasty may well continue being last, but that would require quite the effort from the Shanghai Dragons, as if going up against Guangzhou Charge they get swept, of course their map score is going to go down to -10, which would put them in last place. Seoul Dynasty, their fate is no longer in their hands, and it's been a disappointing run through for them. Their tournament is over. But for our teams up at the top, it is still their own games to play. I don't know if Hangzhou Spark could get first. I think, no, they couldn't.
No.
Right?
Yeah, I said that. Hangzhou can't get first. It's battle for second. Seoul, though, you look at this roster on paper. Profit, PH, the Pro Boys, as I like to say, Belos, Ria, Void, Lee and Krillin. This should not be a team in last place. And you could say the same about the Shanghai Dragons. Having Hisu and Fleta is huge. Even Iris I'm a huge fan of from his North American stay. So it's crazy, but that just shows you the level of competition that we have in APAC.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Iris, huge fan of Iris's plays. On the, I believe, Houston Outlaws popped off quite a bit and had some time with Panthera as well down in our opens, trying to get their way through to the top. And then somehow Fate ended up on Panthera, and Iris went over to the Shanghai Dragons instead. But it's going to be a lot for the Dragons to go up against the Guangzhou Charge. But first, we've got to think about how the Hangzhou Spark are going to take on the Seoul Infernal, who have come off of a blistering victory. It was hard fought and hard won against a team that actually swept the Hangzhou Spark 3-0. They had trouble dealing with Jimmy. Seoul Infernal did not.
And I would be scared too, with Seoul Infernal setting a world record on Esperanza with the fastest cap time against the Guangzhou Charge of all teams. You set a record against the #1 first place team in APAC. So Infernal are not to be messed with, and you heard it from Mag in the interview. They're good at identifying the threats on the other team, and yesterday Seoul said that was Jimmy, as Seoul will set their sights against the Spark. Shy better watch his back, because Jimmy had it coming yesterday.
Yeah, Jimmy absolutely was targeted and blown away by the Seoul Infernal. But another thing that Mag said in that interview, Lemon, aside from just targeting Jimmy, was that he expects to MTD Gushway today. He's going to generate a big old MTD. And you know what? Here's Seoul Infernal coming up. We're going to be able to see their starting roster real soon. I don't think there's going to be any surprises for anyone. They've got a fairly limited roster, but let's get hyped for who's on it.
MN3, or as I like to say, MN3K. He rolls around the block with that Glock, and you just can't deny how good his Ashe is. But it's a tall task to go up against Shy on the other side. But Hangzhou Spark really like their double flankers, so we'll see if MN3 will stick to either that Hanzo Ashe style, or if he's gonna want to go back to Sombra.
Yeah, it's a big ideological question here for Infernal coming in. I mean, if they want to try and match that double flanker, or if they want to learn from what Guangzhou Charge did when sweeping Hangzhou Spark and overwhelming them with hit scan power, because we know that Jimmy confounded the Spark. They could not deal with Jimmy. And while they may have learned from them as to how to deal with the long-range poke of a Hanzo or an Ashe, MN3 can fit into those shoes incredibly well and have a hyper-carry performance. There's a Seoul Infernal fan.
He's right there.
Yes. He's here! He's arrived! It's my fan!
His shirt says cramp. Are you okay? We'll see if he's okay after this match. We'll check in with the singular Seoul Infernal fan. It's cool from the WDG Esports studio, being able to host watch parties, of course, if the players are online. But going up against the Seoul Infernal is the Hangzhou Spark, the third place team. Here is your roster. Their only loss was the Guangzhou Charge. They're very reliant on the double flanker. They rival Seoul Infernal when it comes to execution, but this team has a lot more experience on the Sombra Trace.
Yeah, huge amount more experience. Shy and Leave, of course. Some would consider the best DPS in China, but Jimmy is definitely making a play for that status, knocking on the door, as it were, of Shy and Leave. Leave, of course, a previous season MVP for a fantastic 2020 season, I believe, maybe 2021, on the Chengdu Hunters. And the Hangzhou Spark fans appear to have turned up here at our WDG Esports studio as well. And I'm expecting that we're probably going to see Leave and Shy bring out a bunch of that double flanker as you talked about before, Lemon. And with Leave and Shy liking the Sombra, it is going to limit Mag's ability to bully people on the Wrecking Ball, which was a mainstay of the tactical depth of Seoul Infernal yesterday.
That's the big question. Is Mag going to want to play the Hammond? I think that style really favored against teams that don't go for the double flanker, because we talked about how the Hammond is meta for many reasons. The Discord Orbs of Zens, the Ana Sleeps, the Sombra hacks. There's a plethora of counters, and Mag went unchallenged yesterday, had a total of 3 deaths on Hammond statistically, but going up against the Hangzhou Sparks double flanker, I would think Mag would have a bad time, but statistically, he looks like he'll have a great time against Guxue.
Yeah, this Winston match is real close when it comes to the eliminations. Only 0.1 ahead is Guxue. The final blows a little bit higher, and that might be to be expected when you're seeing a lot more Sombra play from the side of the Hangzhou Spark, who are getting a few less final blows from their Sombras, but the Primal Rage kills. This is what could really be determining, Lemon. A Primal Blade of Guxue certainly is feared APAC and the world over. And to be honest, going over towards Mid-Season Madness, we kind of expect Guangzhou Charge to be there, but we expect one of these two teams to be the second APAC representative. And this might be a hallmark series to determine which one would be taking that second place.
A lot of damage from Mag, who put on the damage too in the interview, saying he's ready and confident that he is going to MTD Guxue. This match will begin on Lijiang Tower, where both these teams have seen levels of rush, specifically on the Reinhardt. Mag yesterday, I think, was a huge proponent of winning that round 3, game 5 Antarctic icebreaker it was, when Mag went Reinhardt, and they executed it perfectly against the Guangzhou Charge to win at the end. But Hangzhou, they like their Reinhardt rush too, with Leaves May and Shy's Cassidy.
Yeah, both of these teams knew exactly how to respond to the Dallas Fuel Junker Queen when it came out previously, but I think that both of these teams are leaning away from running the Junker Queen themselves, like you said, much preferring Reinhardt in the rush. They have two very classically main tank leaning players in Guxue and, of course, in Mag as well. But critically, there's a touch more depth on the Hangzhou Spark, where they have 20 waiting in the wings to fill off-tank roles, whereas Mag at the moment is solo tanking for the Seoul Infernal, and no matter what strategy is dreamed up by the coaches of Seoul, it's gonna have to be Mag who fulfills that role.
I'm just scrolling through all the matches that these teams have played, and I don't see a single Lijiang Tower played. It's been a lot of Oasis and Ilios, and we start on, I believe this is Gardens, and with the Symmetra TP from both sides, so no positional advantage, but it's the double flanker dive from Spark, and look Seoul come out swinging with the positional advantage, as Hangzhou will be able to leap over this bridge when the time is right.
Speed, power, and aggression. MN3 might find himself the most likely target of a dive here. He's got a wider hitbox, only 200 HP, remember. Not quite as beefy as he once was before, and a lot less means of saving himself. It's going to be down to skewed and good usage of that immortality field to make that happen.
I like the shelter that Seoul Infernal's backline takes in Dojo. It's going to be harder for Shy to get these hacks. Already failed to man anti from Monk on the backline of Seoul to get the immortality out. Seoul defend their healers well. A fire strike pierces through the Spark. 3 down immediately, as Seoul's frontline fortress of the rush was not broken down at all.
I want to expand a little bit on your point about the dojo, because it's a fantastic point that Seoul Infernal are going to be exploiting as we move deeper into this match, and it actually stops Guxue from being able to deliver a good amount of damage with the Winston Leap, because you can't land directly inside the dojo. The doors are simply too small to make that happen, and it means that Seoul Infernal have a lot more time to react when Guxue comes in and have a little bit less healing that they have to catch up with.
Hangzhou Spark will leap over the bridge, be able to place that bubble in Dojo, keep their double flankers anchored back there. Guxue leaves, lengths a load, but able to live on. As Hangzhou haven't killed anything yet. Hack finally connects to Skewed. That's been something that he's avoided well thanks to that Dojo positioning. Hangzhou, though, what a quick punish from MN3. Ooh, get the headshot on not only one, but two, as Hangzhou have still failed to get a single elimination.
That skew tracking was brutal. Fixer being down, though. This might be a slight opening for the Hangzhou Spark. They're coming up close to the EMP now, so Seoul Infernal are going to have to answer this with fantastic spacing. And remember that it can also cancel an amplification matrix from skewed. So Skew needs to be careful when this is going to be going down. Shy's already been caught. There's no translocator, Lemon.
This is the second time Shy's been punished while decloaking in the back line. I mean, the first time I forgave him because it was a headshot from MN3. The second time, he had time.
No forgiveness.
Yeah. And you still didn't have time for the EMP, but this is do or die for Hangzhou with 78% plus for Seoul.
Yeah, this is a very narrow amount of time that Hangzhou Spark have as well before Fixer gets the sound barrier up, but they're really going to be able to get a good engage with their EMP. So Shy needs to get multiple people and needs to do it real soon.
The Nano given over to Gushue. Shy with the EMP. Gushue pounces. 3 dead on impact from the Spark. Their first successful fight of the round, despite 2 ults being dropped from Seoul. It wasn't enough to defend and get the flawless round they wanted.
Big mess up from Zest as well. Using the Blizzard to try and counter that dive when Shy still had the Blizzard available. Remember, in the most recent patch, new interaction, Blizzard can now be cancelled by EMP. And that freed up all of the Hangzhou Spark to continue following up upon that dive that they manufactured.
Skewed is able to avoid Sombra so well, but the hack was interrupted. Hangzhou up by 1, taking out M3 is a big threat removed. Lucky headshot from Zest on the leave makes this a 4-on-4. Spark, they have to sustain up the primal, but looks been shattered. You take those every day. Now you swing on the Langsa. There's no supports. Langsa use the rally, knew this was final fight territory for Seoul at 93. Sound barrier from Fixa wasn't able to save Skewed. Seoul in a dangerous position, but I think they've made a big enough dent into Spark that Seoul shouldn't be too worried.
Gushua's going to be able to return, but he's going to be super vulnerable. Langsa already dinked coming in by MN3. Leave with a possible in hand, needs to try and take this into his own hands, Lemon, and save it for the Hangzhou Spark.
99% for Seoul. The rush is working out, taking down another juggernaut team. Fixa with 2. Hangzhou just haven't been able to divide and conquer this death ball of Seoul Infernal. As the round 1 will end 100-53. We go to the second one, and this is the rush pulling off on a Gardens map. We haven't even gone to Control Center yet.
Oh yeah, Control Center is exactly where Hangzhou Spark don't want to go if they don't want to match this. We know that Gushue's got the Rhine in his back pocket, but Seoul Infernal looking very hot on their movements, their rotations, their opportunity cost. Mag did a great job there of just solo shadowing the Ana, realizing what the opening in that particular fight was, and taking huge advantage of it. Here's a quick look at MN3 being able to pop off with the aim on the Cassidy.
Yeah, really good immortality there, because Gushue was reacting to the 2-man anti-monk got on Skewed and Fixa, which got them below half health. And Skewed is countering this double flanker so well. I was worried about that, of how Shy and Leave were going to carve apart these supports. We go to Night Market with a different style of rush from Seoul with the Zarya Reaper. Feels like the Dallas Fuel special. Hangzhou sticking to their guns with a dive.
Remember, the Reaper can be somewhat waylaid by the whip shot from Langsa, but if that is going to be used onto the Reaper, it does mean that Mag can usually move forward for free. For now. Very, very frugal when it comes to the bubbles. Wants to save them for a full engagement here, not using anything in advance to give Hangzhou Spark an opening for an unprotected Zarya to be farmed.
Yeah, Hangzhou trying to find different angles. Seoul, they leave the point, go towards mid-map. Spark are just so separated and they haven't found like a right hack target until they just get blown up by this Reaper at close range. Yeah, Fixa gets the credit. I guess he's booping the supports off the map. You can't even translocate the Reapers in your spawn.
Fixa's got the most final blows on his team, by the way, at 6 right now. MN3 and Zest at 5 and 4 respectively, but Fixa's definitely showing why he is on this team. And he's not someone we get to talk about a huge amount. It's just to do with the main supports. Consistency is their best friend. They're really the flashy players. But Fixa certainly making this map his own. We used to call it Lijiang Tower, and I don't have time to come up with a pun that makes it Fixa's zone.
Well, the speed advantage for Seoul makes it so they can decide when they want to disengage and engage. As Hangzhou have to play off of contact of hacks or maybe a low target from Leave. Coordination is key from the Spark. who disappear from the point after showing face. Now at the front is Gushue, and the supports are still getting killed by Lucio. But you gotta thank the Amp Matrix, well placed by Skewed. Lengths fixes killing people off screen. I just can't believe this.
He's got a
What is
triple.
going on?
Mom, get the camera. It's another fix a triple. A quad, maybe? Even more? Ah, come on, Mag. Come on.
This arm is whipping back and forth. Like, he's sweating this game.
Yo, why not? If you can get this 3-0, you are in a great position to try and take that first place seed. And what a time it would be for Seoul Infernal. Zest hiding out here, undiscovered thus far by Lynx. And they still don't know!
Oh, they don't know. Great bubble from Mag 2. You couldn't stop it even if you tried. 83+% for Seoul as Hangzhou Spark have the ults to break into this. It's about an EMP from Shy. He's got to get into position. Keep an eye on this. Seoul are playing so split up. They know what is coming. And they're spy checking every second of the way. Fixa is still 2% off of sound barrier. Should still be able to counter this. Gushue gets nanoed first. See what he can get kill-wise. He's trapped the supports. MN3 did get slept. EMP is thrown out. Hits the 3. Fixa is still killing on Lucio. The sound barrier saves the team as Hangzhou have to play from behind.
Now Mag can move in. Not near that Grav yet, but with no energy. He's not going to be a brutal combatant on the point. Still, Leave taken down. MN3 missed the aim. MN3K could be on the cards. For Grav inching ever closer. Lemon as the Mortars go through the Amp Matrix.
Oh, Hangzhou. It was a good rotation to the point. They had the protection and the safety to just hide away, despite not getting the immediate conversion on the primal, or not the primal, the nano and the EMP. It got a little hairy, but Hangzhou hold on. But having to use that many ults, it'll be tough to keep this up.
Yeah, they are really going to be relying on Leave here to get an early pick. Remember, it can be answered by Skewed here with an immortality appeal, but getting that out of the way early is value in itself, even if it doesn't convert into a full kill. MN3 is looking for any target to dare present themselves to a Peacekeeper. He is brutal at mid-range.
Leave needs to have his impact knowing the immortality has been used. This is Leaf's time to shine, but his team is dead. So this has been Seoul being relentless on control. What a shot from MN3. The turn and burn. Gushue bursted down. 100-51. A huge team diff at the start of our series. Seoul Infernal take game 1.
Fixa for Lucio ending 21-2 with 11 final blows. Fixa just asked the entirety of China, excuse me, was this your super team? Because they can't deal with Fixa the Frog. Simply too much to bear, and that was actually a really good setup there from the Seoul Infernal in the final fight as well. They send in Zest so that Lengsa has to play close to Monk to try and protect that tiny little Lana that needs protection from a Brigitte shield, but it forces them together, allowing Mag to drag them both into the Graviton Surge so they can be easily cleaned up. The tactical depth of this team doesn't seem to have withered at all. Seoul Infernal are still on a hot streak.
I want to also point out that Fixa versus Shy. Fixa had 3.2k damage, Shy had 3.5k. If your Lucio is putting up Sombra numbers, there is a big problem. There's a fire in the Hangzhou Spark camp, and we're going to find out after this break if they got a fire extinguisher. The fire continues to burn for the Hangzhou Spark in a not great way after getting beat down 2-0 on the first map of Lijiang Tower. When your Sombra is almost getting out-rivaled by a Lucio in damage numbers, there's a problem.
A big problem, and a large problem, and it appears to be going demon mode. Mag being able to bring out the Reinhardt twice here and not even having to flex the Winston versus Winston against Gushui. There is nothing that is being forced on the Seoul Infernal right now. They are very comfortable able to play their own game. Hangzhou Spark are having to adapt, and hopefully here for the Hangzhou Spark, they're able to actually bring enough power to bear to force a reaction from the Infernal, but Fixer ain't reacting to anything.
Yeah, hashtag demon mode is literally Seoul Infernal's brand, and Fixa, he's almost got the demon hair going on. 2 deaths, 21 eliminations. Fixa is like that Reddit Lucio on it, and the fact that you're doing that against Hangzhou is scary. But I gotta say that the backline of Seoul Infernal, I think, is what is making it so difficult for Hangzhou Spark to get hacks off. Shy against Skewed has been difficult. Leave can't even leave a pulse bomb because immortalities and boops and everything. By the time Leave wants to throw a pulse, his team is dead. Seoul Infernal with the speed advantage too because of Fixa, because Hangzhou like to play the Brig Ana, does give Seoul Infernal such a aggression advantage, but that's on control, where the Lucio is going to go away after this.
Yeah, Fixer likely to flex over onto the Brigitte instead and try and give Zest a little bit of help in those Tracer versus Tracers. And honestly, Zest, when it comes to reputation here on the Tracers, very well known for their Tracer play, but so too is Leave. It is definitely not an easy matchup, but Fixer can do more than his fair share to try and help out with that with the long-range repair packs. As we head over to Hollywood Lemon, we're going to expect a bit of Winston versus Winston potentially, but hey, Seoul Infernal have surprised us before, and they may well surprise us again.
Yeah, Hangzhou Spark, like a particular composition, the double flanker dive with the Brig Ana is their bread and butter. Seoul Infernal, love that composition too. On this very map, the last time we saw the Infernal on Hollywood, it was a beautiful cap, a minute 36 against the Shanghai Dragons. They won this map. When it comes to Spark, they actually haven't played Hollywood. They've played Kings Row 3 times and a Blizzard World, so they just, we don't know what to expect besides, you know, Spark doing Spark things.
Yeah, sometimes Spark do Spark things, and sometimes they don't turn up to a game. Like the Guangzhou Charge, shut them out. Credit to Infernal, they have not been shut out of a game yet. Their loss against the Seoul Dynasty was a 3-2, and honestly, they're probably really kicking themselves for that now, given that Seoul Dynasty have since, they fell down a flight of stairs, and they are having trouble getting up, to be honest. They've been running through this bracket with all of the grace of a hippo in high heels, and Seoul Infernal, since then, they've gone from strength to strength. That kind of Soul Bowl loss lit a fire under this team, and that fire's been responded to incredibly well. As we head in, it's going to be Seoul Infernal rolling out on exactly what we expect.
Big stakes for Seoul 2. If they can 3-0 this match, they will have a fighting chance for first place, depending on how the Guangzhou Charge Shanghai Dragons match goes. Some scouting from MN3, great to see him back on the Sombra. The double flanker is not something we saw from Seoul yesterday. Despite wanting to put pressure on Jimmy, they did so with the Hammond, and MN3, a quick execution on the Shy despite the Gushui bubble coming down. The follow-up from Mag, there, you can't even hide behind the bar, but you'll need a drink after that one. Seoul Infernal, they are shutting the door on Hangzhou today.
Put your keys and your healing behind the bar and get out. Hangzhou Spark, they rolled out with the Sojourn. It was a risk to take an MN3. He was up in the trees, Lemon. He was doing some guerrilla warfare and identified the weakness of the Sojourn. The slow kid who could be dove upon. And Shy does discover MN3 doing a bit of scouting, but that's still going to slow down Hangzhou Spark again, as Leave needs to buy more and more space here to try and get Shy through untouched.
I like the Shy Sojourn call. We've seen DPS preferring the Sojourn to have extra mobility, the jump to easily get to high grounds, but also away from annoying Winstons. But the charge time to get to the deadly blow of a Sojourn shot does take some time. It's easier off the Winston bubble, as Hangzhou Spark just posturing, waiting for the Mag bubble to break. Now that that's gone, Zest could not sneak up to Gushui. Would have been a good call. The pulse doesn't hit. as the Seoul Infernal backline in trouble, separated away from Mag. His bubble is still alive and well. Oh, Mag barely gets away. He's so close to Primal. He's playing his life. The Seoul Infernal are up by 1. After a few picks, including the Zest Tracer diff that we've seen thus far, and it's back-to-back fights for Seoul.
That was an absolute classic example of a backline race. MN3 gets picked off by Leave at the end, though, which could actually be bad news bears. Still, Skewed hitting the sleep onto Gushui, absolutely imperative. Gives Mag all the time that he needs to try and make this work.
All right, the Nano first from the defense. Mag can go in as deep as he wants because he has the Primal, stuffing them right back. Jump from Shy, he gets Nano too. He's brought back up to full, and Mag will respect that. He was down to half health. EMP from MN3 hits 3. Langsa with the rally in response. Spark, this is their biggest chance to go to the point. And it's Shy above with 2. And Zest can't even go around the corner. Shy, 3K to give Spark the point.
And it's about damn time that Shy returned to the throne that was built for him. The Chinese super team thought we're going to get the hit scan coming out of China. That was always Shy. It's always been Shy. And Jimmy may well have made a play for the throne, but Shy was not going to let him have it for free for long. Moving back over now onto the Sombra, realizing, hey, between these two areas, the Sojourn's just too vulnerable.
Hangzhou used everything in the tank, though, to break open that point. So this is going to be a pretty vanilla fight from them. Soul of the Pulse Bomb. It does hit Gushui. Focus fire there from Infernal to remove that tank. And now the supports of Spark are exposed. Mag cuts off the right door. At the left is Zest, punished by Langsa. Spark are still backing away, but they're getting squashed like insects by Mag. And it still hasn't stopped. Leave tried to put a stop to it. The Pulse doesn't hit. Soul have not stopped pushing Spark in, but Gushui is back. So Soul will have to slow down a bit.
Gushui has returned, yes. Yesterday, Mag promised an MTD, and at the moment doing twice as much damage per 10 as Gushui. Has been able to be much more aggressive and avoided a bunch more of the sleep darts. MN3 has to TP away. Doesn't want to get hacked and have that translocator disabled. But Monk's playing from relative safety here, so we'll be able to farm up yet another Nano and give Gushui some agency to try and take that high ground away from Skewed.
EMP from MN3 hits no one. The Spark went under the roof and they must have LOS'd, or there was a... I have no idea. Spark, unaffected. As MN3 also suffering from difficulties on the Sombra, it seems. The Spark have their own EMP as a response. Keeping shelter below the building. Seoul Infernal above. Mag discovering them. Shy EMP, but a huge anti from Skewed just annihilates the Spark backline off of the fight that seemingly was theirs. But Shy, just not enough.
A Nano incredibly well timed on Mag allows him to soak up a huge amount of post damage from the EMP with that 50% damage reduction. And of course, Seoul Infernal here, so difficult to break away from his high ground. Langsa being forced to take the Nano from Monk meant that Gushui had no way of actually challenging this high ground because he can be brutalized the second that he even sets foot upon the territory of Fixer.
Zest dodging the hacks from Shy, also in charge of anchoring the cart. Seoul Infernal rotate well to back up Zest while he cycles back, as Hangzhou have to remove them by force. Pulse hits Monk as Langsa makes up for the lack of healing with a rally. Soul go up to the high ground. Fixa rallies back to the low ground, realizing that he wasn't with the team. Seoul Infernal communicate well. Langsa down. Spark's backline just staggered from each other, as this attack is gonna take time to really find value, especially in Gushui didn't have time to get Primal out. So Spark definitely have to reset.
The voting system maintains its power, and crucially here, Seoul Infernal, they have not let the cart get too far, so they can still make use of this front roof without having to play all of their high ground cards towards the back, where they can easily allow Hangzhou Spark to get Monk up onto high ground without being harassed. This allows MN3 to play this forward angle and really track Monk and Langsa to set up a dive.
EMP from MN3, the backline, Monk, Langsa fall over, follow up by Skewed with the anti-nade. Phenomenal job from Seoul. When it comes to the double flanker, Hangzhou just tried to stretch the limits of this cart while they knew this was a lost fight. Not getting staggered here is important. Leave gets out.
Silver lining at least.
Oh no, he doesn't.
Oh, that's a terrible stagger. That's brutal, Lemon. Leaf won't be able to take part in the last fight, but Shy. No, we can't get the EMP in time. What a farm from Mag.
Wait, who's gonna touch cart? You don't have Lucio, you don't have Leave, you don't have Shy, you don't have nothing! You have a Primal, it's Spawn! Gushui has to use Primal to shove his way there. He's got hacked. Gushui needs help! 911! Where are the friends? You got a bubble, but that's not gonna help. Seoul Infernal will cut down this attack short of point B. Oh, Mag, he's ready to go to bed.
Oh, Mag is ready to go to bed, but he's got to put these boys down to nap time first. Mag at the moment, 10.3k damage per 10 on the Winston. Gushui, 5.6. He promised an MTD, Lemon. We thought...
He didn't lie.
We thought that it might be a little bit confident, might be a little bit of a meme, but no, you're exactly right. No lies detected. Statistically, right now, Mag is making Gushui look like a gold player.
Seoul, though, are just pounding this backline. Like, Monk and Lexa can't live. I don't blame Gushui for not winning the tank battle. Leave and Zest are pretty even on pulse bombs. The staggers at the end, I think, are what costed Hangzhou another fight. Shy and MN3 have had good and bad EMPs. They're pretty even in that regard. But Hangzhou have to invest so many ults to win a fight that it takes them time to generate new ones. There was very good rotations from Infernal between Zest and the rest of the team to anchor the cart, which delayed a lot of progress from Spark. No matter how many fights they had, they just were not able to progress. So this is very winnable from the Seoul Infernal. Even it was a couple of one fights off the point off of just MN3 assassinating Hangzhou as they came out the gates. We'll see if Shy can do the same thing.
7 deaths each for Monk and Lengsa. You're exactly right. The defensive positioning given here by Shy is going to allow for potentially the same thing to come out from the Hangzhou Spark to farm the Seoul Infernal. MN3 rolling out on the Hangzhou here is very interesting.
No sleep, skewed, exposed. Ixa got his back though. Yeah, back to the Sombras they go. Hanzo would be a big risk. Yeah. Seoul, now that if they've cleared the Sombra, you think that they maybe Shy has translocated somewhat close by. You actually ping Leave on the right side, and I believe that's a pink X-ray, so they might know that Gushui is there too. This is an overextended push from the Spark. We'll see if it bears any fruit. As soon as the bubble goes down, Shy leaves. Speaking of him, he still is alive and well. He's in range of Monk and Lengsa as Spark are not letting Infernal get any space at all.
I'll check out this hacked pack as well from Shy. This gives Leave a very safe place to try and work from if he wants to try and take a flanker duel. Mag taking too much damage, and that demands all of Skewed's attention. But while Skewed's attention is here, that's where other things can fall through the cracks. Still Hangzhou Spark forced to move away for about a moment as Leave is farmed up towards a pulse bomb, and you bet that it's going Fixer's way if he finds him.
Seoul Infernal is the first time they've even gotten close to the point, and they've lost MN3 on contact. You got this bubble right through the choke, so Seoul have to deal with that first before they go through, especially when you're running an Ana composition. Leave! Speaking of that, Ana, RIP. Seoul back to spawn. Hangzhou can pull off a better defense. They can get their revenge and even up the series.
2021 MVP refuses to be embarrassed by the Seoul Infernal here. Shy, all the scouting in the world. MN3 are the same, but here's a EMP advantage here for Shy, and the staging for Hangzhou Spark is already done, whereas Seoul need to purchase this space with resources.
Alright, Seoul Infernal plays the bubble first. It's popped immediately by the Shy EMP. Nano onto MN3 just to allow that extra damage, but Hangzhou Spark have left the party. 5-on-4 though. Seoul chase down the remnants. They don't want Leave to get back anytime soon. They're starting that first take. They remove Shy. That anchor. Zest blows himself up! And Lexa pops the rally. Nanoed by Monk. This is the stability that Hangzhou needed to bring back this point. And you deny the first take from Seoul, but they're still fighting through this. Mag and MN3 in this tiny closet, punishing the Spark for overextending yet again. Mag might be the hero that Seoul need yet after all.
Mag is just doing so much damage with these jumps. So precise, able to land on someone every time, deliver that 50 burst damage. Shy will, yes, have a chance, but Zest has already spy-checked him. That's going to keep him so far away for a while, and Leaf has to touch instead.
2 ticks, almost available from Seoul. They get that. Mag makes sure that no one can go from the high ground, but the trouble from the Spark is on the mini-pack room. Leave crosses. He's getting marked by Zest. Leave not able to take the space he would like. And that's because his backline is in trouble. Seoul are okay for now. EMP from MN3 will seal the deal for this fight, and it took so much time for Seoul to do this, so Hangzhou might be hanging on for now.
MN3 does give up the option to have the momentum EMP here, but I think you're right, Lemon. Sealing the deal was super important. When you think about the overall win condition here for Seoul Infernal of pushing through second, you can't risk a clutch on first from a rejuvenated Hangzhou Spark. MN3 overbrawls a touch into Shy, hoping to try and generate that EMP just a touch faster, but Shy is going to be quicker to the bat. Still, with Mag up on high ground and a missed pulse bomb here, Hangzhou Spark needs to try and gather their resources up on high ground so they can take advantage of that defensive positioning that was so good for Seoul on their own defense.
Skewed using sleep. Just needs to be careful if you invest that into the Tracer and you don't know where the Sombra is. Oh, well, they're really just paying attention to each other. They're on a date and Leave just third wheeled. But Seoul Infernal, they're the ones with most ult. Skewed with the Nano has given us to different teammates. MN3 in the EMP fight, usually Mag, sometimes Fixa. The sustain is what's needed if the backline is in trouble, but Mag gets slept in the middle of Primal. The Zest Pulse doesn't find anything. Soul's ultimates haven't gotten any fruit, but hey, you're close to the win condition. And the box of victory at the end. EMP from Shy hits most of Seoul. Fixa brings them back to life with the rally and brawls Guxue in the bubble. Guxue does get nanoed. He is slept. You gotta leave him alone. He's actually woken back up as the Spark hold a wall at the payload.
A Primal Blade in hand here for Guxue. An emergency if it's needed. Still with 3 meters left. There is a little bit of time to work with here for the Hangzhou Spark before that rolls on in. Mag goes deep, but doesn't have the Primal to stay in. Instead, just going to be farming up that healing for Skewed, who is well ahead at the moment of Monk, by the way. About 3,000 more healing per 10. 8k versus about 10.9. MN3 scouting out. The EMP stands ready, but good positioning here from Monk is going to make him difficult to catch.
Pops the EMP. Guxue and Leave affected, but unharmed. Primal from Guxue just to displace Seoul Infernal. 1 minute left and meters to go. A one fight will give match point to Seoul, and it's back and forth. Spark holding the cart and forced to fight there. They are split up by the Mag bubble, and Seoul Infernal are missing some supports. Monk barely lives. Lynx's rally will keep him up for now, and he stuns up the competition as Seoul have to escape to the high ground to give them another fight.
But now it's Seoul who are feeling the peril. With 30 seconds remaining, this could slip through their fingers. MN3's desperately trying to farm it towards that EMP so that it might be a difference maker in the last fight, but it's definitely going to come down to Mag. A Nano delivered, potentially a Monk slain. You need to be able to path here onto the Ana. You can't have Lynxa interrupt this, but with no rally, it's going to be much more difficult to do that, and Fixer's got more staying power with their own.
If Seoul don't 3-0, they will lose their chance to get the first place, the first seed into knockouts. It's important for Seoul to finish this off cleanly as Hangzhou won a battle for second seed. It's the Primal, it's the rally. Good night, Mag. But what happens to the Spark? Guxue still needs to get healed back up. Monk holds the Nano. EMP from Shy. He receives the Nano too, but battling Upper Gita is not what's on the menu. Seoul push to the end, and they go to match point.
The siren song of first seed continues to ring so loud in the ears of the Seoul Infernal. Up against our Chinese super team, Leave is looking absolutely flustered. Hangzhou Spark beaten at their own game in this case. No one should have been able to stand up to Leave, but Zest is making it happen right now. Well ahead on damage. 11 final blows from Zest. But in reality, I'm looking at Skewed right now. The Rock at the back. We heard in Mag's interview, Lemon, but Minseok, Skewed, he is the Rock, both of this team in terms of healing and in terms of emotion. A veteran who played with the Gladiators for so long and was taken away from his favored role of the flex support in order to move over to the Brigitte. But now he's back and doing what he does best.
If Seoul can pull off the 3-0, they can fight for first place, but it depends on the Guangzhou-Shanghai match. We'll see if they can do it cleanly after this break. It's match point for the Seoul Infernal, and they're on fire, baby. Coming off that Game 5 win against the Guangzhou Charge, and making quick work of Hangzhou Spark for the third place team. So this is kind of crazy how much Seoul have leveled up.
Seoul only dropped one series thus far. It was to their sister team, the Seoul Dynasty, right at the beginning. Oh, I love that little demon. Well, I suppose it's not a little demon.
Hulked
it's more
out.
Like, he's a hulky demon. He's a chungus demon.
It's Chad. The Chad Infernal.
The Chad demon?
Let's go Infernal, says the sign. I imagine. I like it. Like it's simple. Simple and clean.
Yeah. Keep it simple. Keep it clean. That's exactly what Seoul Infernal are doing right now. No real shenanigans. They're fighting the Hangzhou Spark at their own game on Hollywood. The double flanker versus the double flanker, and coming out handily as the superior team. And as hyped up skewed before the break, I think that his ability to stand stock still while drinking water is definitely part of the mental fortitude that allows him to really be that rock in the backline.
I'm also losing the staring contest to Zess right now. Skewed, I think, is winning. I'm not sure. But we have butts and seats, and we have a map 3 around the corner where it still was a close game in terms of the final fights. It wasn't this clean, like, 5-man sweep when it comes to fights. Both teams had to fight tooth and nail for it. I think Seoul Infernal, or I should say Hangzhou Spark's defense, didn't have as much cart presence, which didn't delay as much progress and draw out as much time from the Seoul Infernal's attack, which gave them about 90 seconds left to push to the end. So I think Spark, just small things like that are what can really stress out Seoul Infernal's offense. But we go to a final map to see if Hangzhou Spark are boomed or not.
One more map, Lemon. One more map. I believe we're going to be heading over to Rialto, and this is going to be where MN3 versus Shy might move away from this Sombrador that's been going very heavily in favor of MN3. Look at that hero damage done difference. The final blows, unbelievable. MN3 certainly is closing out a lot more of these dives than Shy is.
And I think that's why Mag looks so much better than Gushue. I know we're writing MTD, but as a fellow support main, you gotta shout out how people are able to keep the tank alive. And this double flanker difference, I think, is what is pounding Gushue. Because Gushue's supports are dead, thanks to MN3 and friends. Shy's not doing that same impact to MN3 supports, so Gushue's not getting enough healing and enough resources to brawl out someone like Mag. That's why you can't, stats are so hard to look at in Overwatch, because one factor leads to another. But I just gotta say, I was thinking the Spark had more experience on double flanker and therefore were supposed to be better than Seoul Infernal, but I'm seeing the opposite. The numbers are there.
Yeah, you talked about a lot more resources going to Mag. Let's talk about one particular resource, the Nano Boost. It feels like it's rarely ever being applied to Gushue with the same initiative that Seoul Infernal are able to use when they have their own engagement. Seoul Infernal are controlling engagement super well by Mag having excellent dives with bubble placements that stop him from being whip-shot away by Lengsa. And to respond to these nano dives, we often see Monk having to nano Lengsa to try and keep him alive, or even Shy in desperation to try and get value out of EMPs. And that means that Gushue rarely has a very effective engage because he's playing with just the regular Winston damage. And I think that high ground play from Infernal as well has meant that Monk has not been able to hit many nades. We have not seen much in the way of antis on Infernal, and that once again means that Gushue can't do nearly as much.
And just looking at map stats, Rialto, Spark visited this against the Dallas Fuel and won this. They were able to stop them at point B with the same composition that they always run, the double flanker. The Hangzhou Spark are the team that run this composition the most when it comes to APAC. And on the side of the Infernal, I don't see much Rialto. Havana
we had
can
one
be
yesterday, and that was MN3. MN3K is how it went down, Lemon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that match. It was just yesterday.
Yeah. We suppressed that memory because it hurt so much for all the Guangzhou fans, but Mag was playing the Diva in that particular case, but I wouldn't mind seeing a swap up in terms of Seoul Infernal style here to match up once again against Hangzhou Spark on their preferred composition, because You've got confidence here. If you're Seoul Infernal, you think you can continue to do this. MN3 checking to see if Shy would dare meet him in a Widow duel. It's not going to be happening, though. And so, swapping back over onto the Sombra.
Alright, Seoul Infernal. No Widows in sight. No problem. I wouldn't want to play Widow against these flankers and these dives. Just be asking for a punch to the face. Spark are just hanging out on the high ground. Some scouting there from MN3. Gets the hack onto Guxue. The call is made. Mag jumps up top. Has the assistance of Zest. And Guxue seems alive and well. He rounds the corner. Hasn't given up this high ground. Two-man or three-man ante from Skewed is what really kicks off this fight for Seoul. They converge onto the Spark, who don't leave the high ground fast enough. Guxue made the call, placed the bubble, but Monk and Langston never left. So they got punished, and Spark fall apart. They desync.
And this is what we talked about in our break as well. Just so many more antis being hit by Skewed right now. An absolute wizard with the nades. Being able to hit them into the midst of Hangzhou Spark and grabbing both supports and a Winston. Like, you've got two shields to try and deal with that. Your Ana should be playing a relatively more safe range. The fact that Skewed is able to get this much value is criminal for a single biotic grenade.
Oh, Mag in trouble. He was already antied to the post on top. It's a pain sandwich, and the Spark can reestablish themselves. Chase down everyone. Great sleep on the Fixa to guarantee that kill. Spark need every kill they can get to generate ults, especially that EMP.
Time for Monk to rise up. Once more, reclaim the throne as the best Ana in China. Maybe an APAC. Skewed, though. Faster to the punch when it comes to the Nano. Can put this over onto Mag. And we'll have to see again if the theme starts to develop of Mag getting a lot more nanos than Guxue. Could be forced out early from Monk if it starts. Maybe save Lengsa from a stick.
It's like Seoul controlling the high ground. Last time Spark kind of lost his fight at this point. It was over just not dropping and not following each other on the call. Looks like they're already better at this. Guxue respecting that. Mag jumps in. Has to get Nano because he was hacked and almost died. A save from Skewed keeps this fight going for Seoul as they generate that EMP. MN3 close to it. Shy getting into position. But with Mag on the high ground, he wants to make sure he grabs him into this. As Mag, as soon as he LOSs this on a Shy could pull it out. But Shy needs to go back for heals or a health pack. He dropped down low. Hangzhou have given up so much space. The MN3 EMP comes out first. Shy in response. Infernal dropped their first support. Hangzhou, well, they've reinforced their front line. And they hold on to the cart. And you depend on Leave to convert on the pulse bombs. As Spark bring this down to a 1-minute offense for Seoul.
Monk getting so much value in that fight, managing to anti-Fixa. The second that he uses the rally to deny any healing, meaning that the Brigitte can't really stay in the fight. Mag now stops over onto the Diva, thinking, I need to try and bully Guxue out of this. Leave, by the way, has lapped Zest on a pulse bomb, is now building a third before Zest uses his first. Leave is absolutely tearing through the Seoul Infernal, saying this ends here, and tearing through MN3 as well.
The fact that Mag is the first to concede to go to a Diva, coward. But also great counter. Mad respect. I would do it too if, you know, first seed is on the line and all. 30 seconds for Seoul. Still not getting point A. This is a huge comeback for the Hangzhou Spark. So many ults coming online. The lengths of rallies, which you have to keep an eye on for. If they can get a critical stun onto Zester MN3. Mag got slept, is only slowed and not halted. It's now the anchor placed on the Seoul Infernal cart. And Spark have been so good at preventing progress, and the card has even fallen back so many meters. So many ults available from Spark, waiting to pull the trigger, waiting for Seoul Infernal to make the first move. MN3 pulls the trigger. It's a 4-man EMP. Spark don't even have time to use the rally. Lengths explodes on impact. Zest is slept. Monk lives on. He has to give his attention to the front line to keep this cart going. Shy's EMP wasn't enough. He didn't have enough teammates to win the fight. As Spark invests so many ultimates and fail.
A 5 ultimate fight and a 5 ultimate failure from the Hangzhou Spark. Unfortunately, a well-placed whip shot from Fixa keeps the Primal Blade at bay and keeps a Nano Brigitte from falling off the map and being sent to a swimming pool of doom. Zest, yes, has to recall away now, but Seoul Infernal, they are thanking their lucky stars, sighing in relief.
Oh,
that they have been able to even get to second.
Goodbye.
Brutal.
And that Seoul momentum push might be squashed, but you're really just brawling. Mag It's all about bullying Gushui on this diva. Zest trying to force out the translocate from Shy. And after Hangzhou invested so much, it's fine for them to brawl because they need to generate those ults. You know Mag has self-destruct, so you have to be aware of that. Oh, pushing the sports down to the ground is a good call from Mag. The cart is still pushing, also halfway to point B. A Spark are at the front of it as they try to restabilize.
This gives so much safety over to Skewed. Makes it far more difficult for Gushui to actually get a good dive off, especially with Mag in the way. Fixer moving forward, yes. And the cart is stalled in place for a moment as the brawl starts to happen.
Oh, they're putting Hangzhou's backs against the wall. And Leave was able to break out. Removing Fixa is a good start, but Seoul, their numbers have been evened up. Seoul started off this fight in the lead after warding off the high ground, pushing Spark into a corner. Mag loses mech, though, and we'll just give this up. That's a Seoul Infernal reset with not a lot of time left.
Out of 14 final blows, Leave has 10 of them. Right now, absolutely brutalizing, vanquishing the Seoul Infernal. Exercising this demon and making sure that it is never to remain. A lovely little nade from Monk as well, pushing them ever closer to that Nano. Going to be able to be the same as Skewed again. It's going to be a sleep, and there's the execution. This is a huge opening for Seoul.
He's on us. He's on us, man.
They are nuts.
It's difficult to hit that sleep, by the way. Like, blinks, translocates, should be able to get away from that. Gushui does get nanoed, has the primal. He can play indeed. 12 seconds. Seoul Infernal have to make the space to lock in this card. Gushui has been slept. You have the burst damage. You do before he bumps the primal. Good coordination from Seoul. You removed the tank. You gotta clean up this fight. Spark actually don't even want to contest. Shy was so close to getting staggered. Now Seoul can chase even more while Gushui comes back.
A well-timed hack means no primal. Seoul Infernal, they are clinging on by the skin of their teeth. It's always an overtime, but it's happening. This time, though, Hangzhou Spark did not throw good ults after a bad situation. It can still batten down the hatches here for the defense. Nothing to come of the Pulse Bomb. Zest still only has one Pulse Bomb kill thus far, but there's plenty of time for that to change as Gushui makes a dive onto the backline.
MN3 is resetting, able to grab a pack. Mag is charging in just to use the self-destruct to make the space because Infernal were struggling to do so. Leave, though, setting up camp in the backline. You have to nano. You nanoed Fixa before you went down. Skewed. Left him with his best wishes, but Seoul can't win these fights with just one support, especially with the flank presence that Spark have. It's great to see them come to life in this 0-2 situation. A great comeback potential for Spark can still happen.
Far from mentally broken, Hangzhou Spark continue to show themselves signs of life. Oh, quick whisper in the ear of Monk. And knows that MN3 is present. They've tracked surely that the CMP is available. The spacing needs to be absolute. The spacing needs to be perfect. But with a translocator noted here, they could make sure that Shy is an early casualty in this fight.
Early rally from Fixa to build up that overhealth, mainly to Skewed. Zest flailed away. Seoul hit by an EMP and the primal on top. This is not who you want to meet in a dark alley, and Mag could not jump to the cart in time. But that was a failed fight for Seoul and a great initiative from the Spark.
It's all about that initiative, Lemon. Striking first. Shy says, okay, so they're on my translocator. That means we know the MN3's all the way in the back. Nowhere near our main line. We might have to sacrifice Monk to make this work, but it's worth it. If we can get a big EMP and just absolutely blast them with the Primal Rage in that tiny area, Gushui can get the mini hops, maximize the damage of those 50 damage jump packs onto multiple people who are all stacked up. Hangzhou Spark read the situation, and they play it perfectly, meaning that MN3 gets zero value out of the ultimate, and he has to choose, do I touch the cart or do I use my EMP? And he chose neither.
Spark's double flanker has improved so much this series. You can tell that during that break, they talked to each other. They boosted their confidence. This is their composition that they have the most experience on. And they're able to show off that confidence. Great EMP from Shy. Mag jumped out, still got affected, and left everyone out to drive, which was more about Mag trying to get the objective still going. But this offense could have ended even earlier, right? It was almost a point A full hold to a struggle just to get to point B. Spark's defense has looked so much better. But what does their offense do? Box of victory at the end of B, or at the end of C.
I saw in that replay something that I didn't catch the first time around as well. MN3 actually got slept by Monk before bringing out the EMP. MN3 now under siege, but that sleep would have stopped him from being able to touch the cart, so Monk kind of forced that pseudo C9 to happen. A great play from Rihanna of Hangzhou Spark, who's dying a lot less this round. Only twice thus far.
MN3 is on Widow. This guy is insane. You would play Widow against Hangzhou Spark? This is now Zest having to play so aggressive to demand the attention of Leave and Shy to go after him. And MN3 has only been attacked once. He tries to land that shot onto Monk, misses, grapples back. Doesn't have that mobility now for a little bit. Hangzhou Spark. Oh, great shot to finish off Gushue. But you still have two flankers that can hunt you down. MN3 can play at the back of point A now. The Spark will have to play without a tank for now.
Remember what happened last time? Actually took away point A for Seoul Infernal. Mag over-chased onto a Widowmaker running this way. Not willing to make that same mistake again. A lot more tempered in their positioning. And Mag does not want to give over any additional damage to allow Shy to build up towards that EMP, but it's Leave who's come closest here to the pulse bomb, knowing that it'd be very difficult to answer. And Shy also knows if I can simply keep MN3 engaged, that might be enough to give my team enough space to work.
And MN3 has a Fixa to babysit him. I wonder if Skewed is around there, but Skewed also has to stay in LOS of Mag, who doesn't want to play far back, needs to hold the space. You can't let Hangzhou Spark command the map. But speaking of which, they just haven't even commanded point A yet. They're about halfway through with half their time bank left. It'll be a nano engage, probably off of Gushue. Good scouting from Seoul to just check the mega pack where Sombras and Tracers are usually lurking. And he has spotted Gushue in the bottom left. Skewed got slept, which was almost a call for Spark to engage, but going through such a narrow hallway is difficult for the Spark. When they're all funneled in, it's easy to take trickle damage. Not great for how Squishy and Shy Leave are. Spark still haven't really started an engage. If they're waiting for Shy's EMP, you're gonna lose critical time. MN3 with the infra sight knows where the push is coming from and hopefully can dodge it in time. Spark did negate them from the high ground, but you still need to make the space. There is a nano. Gushue wants to go after the Ana. Focuses down on the Brigida. Gushue is not getting assistance from his DPS, at least quite yet, but the kills are still coming in. This Hangzhou set their sights towards the end of point A.
We've got to think timing, though. Still, Hangzhou Spark are going to have to fight once again to try and claim this last area of Rialto A. Skewed has a nano to play with. Likely going to be going onto Mag to actually get onto a backline and just decimate them. If he manages to get that close, you've got to track Monk's sleep dart here with absolute precision. And Gushue's Primal Rage could buy so much space on the objective and even force them off of that contesting area.
EMP, only Zest and Mag affected. Skewed gives a nano, doesn't affect anyone. That got canceled. Seoul Infernal losing members at the front. Primal from Gushue 2. Squash now 3 this fight. Throws him into the water. And the Spark, again, having to use a lot to get it done, but a point A cap nonetheless.
Ooh, already 4 Primal Rage kills here from Gushue. Mag is yet to get a final blow, by the way, in this entire map. It has not been a map that's been defined by Mag aggression as the last two have been. Mag's been playing far more of a peeling style, trying to keep Skewed and Fixer alive with limited results, to be honest, Lemon. As Zest wants to try and find a place to put this pulse bomb.
Who will be the lucky recipient? The rally from Langsta. Zest only with splash damage. Even at that, Hangzhou Spark, they just take shelter in this small room, and as Infernal fall for the bait, they get punished. Shy with 2. Hangzhou Spark are still pushing this cart too. And point B is in their sights. They'll have one more fight to go to do it.
Zest still on 0 sticks, but 1 pulse bomb kill gained. On the other side, 5 sticks from Leave. Getting much more value out of this ultimate, and yet another is about to come on up here. You know that Fixer and Skewed most likely going to be the victims of that. It's been brutal thus far from Leave. Perfection on the sticks. Not this time, though.
Fixer! Jump. Jump, I say. Just puppeteering him. Spark up by 1. Skewed has to do all the healing. MN3 and Zest head for the health packs as Mag hopes to get back into mech after the self-destruct. He's able to do so. Good pillar positioning. Mag will continue to anchor this for the Infernal against the EMP. MN3 hits 3 with it. Monk, Nanos, Gushue. The frontline sustain is there. 0.3 meters for the Spark await them. EMP from Shy this time should seal the deal, but the kills aren't coming in. MN3 and Fixa work so well in tandem. as Spark only have 90 seconds, and they think this is winnable. The supports are close to the water. The Primal at least gets one off the water. Leave gets himself off the map, I guess. What the hell was that? Spark still have to reset.
Oh no. Oh, Leave. Oh, now down to 1 minute. Hangzhou Spark used basically everything in that fight with the exception of the rally. Seoul Infernal, it could have been curtains. It could have been blasted to pieces, but instead Leave is nothing but a point of self-effacing giblets on the floor where a pulse bomb once was and a tracer once stood. Zest now has a chance at redemption. Any pulse bomb attach. Chunk down Gushwei. Destroy Lengsa. Force out Shy. Any value, and you can burn this clock.
You can also have Shy and Leave go to the card. Yeah, I see that starting to move. So Shy and Leave could bring the attention of Seoul behind them, and that's how you can cause a lot of chaos. But it looks like Shy and Leave focusing on the tank of Mag. Oh, a great stick from Zest, and the rally from Lengsa at least keeps them up. Spark are getting pushed off the high ground. That's a big anti from Skewed. Fixa with the rally too. Great stuns from the defense. 14 seconds, or Spark will face a 3-0 sweep from the Seoul Infernal, who are looking to fight for that first seed. MN3 with EMP hits two. Monk under fire. Great peeling from the Spark. Monk still lives and punishes the flankers. As Seoul Infernal hope to hang on, they head back towards the cart. Meters away are the Spark from point B. Self-destruct from Mag. Able to get back in the mech. Fixa, nanoed by Skewed, helps the backline also be reinforced. Spark are running out of options. Lengsa, nanoed as well. Shy has the EMP. This has to be in the nail in the coffin. Ready to hit these supports with it, or maybe wants to conserve it. Overtime into effect. Shy will hold on, as Seoul still have not been removed from this cart.
Still, the conservation here from Shy might well pay dividends. Goucher with the Primal as well. Finally, the cart ticks on through, and Hangzhou Spark only need to win one fight in 1 minute and 20 seconds to deny the 3-0 and force Guangzhou Charge to lose against the Shanghai Dragons. If they were going to lose that first seed, Seoul Infernal were desperately hoping for a 3-0, and Zest needs to purchase it for them. It's the same story again. A pulse bomb will determine it all.
1 minute. The EMP to rule them all. Seoul have to lift through. It only affects Mag. Do you guarantee the kill? No. Shy went in too deep for it. The Seoul Infernal barely keep their tank up, but they fire back even stronger. Seoul living through that EMP. There is time remaining, but that is a big win condition gone for the Spark.
A big win condition gone. The rally will remain even on the nano for Skewed and Monk. It's going to be a race between these Annas. A 1 versus 1, a metaphorical race to the finish line as the EMP hits.
3 from Spark hits as they are on the top bridge. They have shelter. Gushwei isn't there to protect them. Lengsa removed, and you needed Spark to generate as many ults as you could. 18 seconds. Last fight for the Spark to stay alive.
Once again, Leave is going to be asked to do it all. Leave has got to be the one to carry Hangzhou Spark to victory. Maybe a nano onto a tracer, but look at all this space for Seoul Infernal have claimed already. Could you even touch the cart, Lemon?
Spark have to have Shy and Leave there. Pulse hits Fix's shield. He's okay for now. Seoul have Mag leading that front line close to Primal with Nano. Rally on top. Spark, they have to out-sustain this. They're matching the ultimates. Gushwei Nano 2, who is the FTD? Zest with the splash damage of the Pulse. Spark anchoring the cart as much as they can. Shy close to EMP. This one has to be the fight winner for the Spark, or they will fall this series. The bubble has to be bursted from Mag to get through this, though. Shy hasn't generated fast enough. His team is dying, and they're on the cart. The Spark get 3-0'd, and the Seoul Infernal are on top.
No one steps up, no one steps forward, and Seoul Infernal step on the Hangzhou Spark. Now, their fate is in the hands of the Guangzhou Charge. They could be playing for that first seed, Lemon. Guangzhou needs to play perfectly against the Shanghai Dragons. On paper, it should be workable. But even if it's not the first seed for Seoul Infernal, they have made a statement today that the one loss they had against the Seoul Dynasty, it was a fluke. It doesn't count. Mickey Mouse match. For Seoul Bowl, no one cares. Didn't ask. L+ ratio. We are here to stay.
So the only possibility is if Guangzhou go to Game 5. Since Seoul 3-0'd, if Guangzhou go to Game 5 against the Shanghai Dragons, That would make both Guangzhou and Seoul in a +9 map differential, which will then come down to tiebreakers. Seoul just being in a 3-0 situation gives them the possibility. Again, we're most likely going to see Seoul Infernal in second seed, which is going to still give them a huge advantage going into knockouts. Hangzhou will remain in third seed. And Guangzhou, if they end their match against Shanghai 3-0 or 3-1, they will guarantee themselves the first place going into knockouts.
And what a time for Seoul Infernal to come up trumps and become the team. Skewed, of course, is our player of the match. Woo! We highlighted just how much one support staying alive can do for your team in this double flanker meta. You're going up against Leave, a 2021 MVP, up against Shy, an absolute force of nature on the Sombra and Gushui, the Primal Blade himself, but Skewed on the Ana digs in his heels and refuses to go through those pearly gates to heaven.
I know we talked so much about Fixa and how funny he is, but Skewed was the difference maker for me on Lijiang Tower. His Baptiste, the immortality usage, made Leave look silly on pulse bombs, made Shy look silly the way Skewed played around Dojo to deny every hack. Just this double flanker of Hangzhou could not get through thanks to Skewed. Mag, MTD, I thank the supports. Skewed every nano, usually to Mag or Fixa. Wherever the pressure was, Skewed was so good at identifying where that was. And this is what allowed them to push to the end. Also, you know, the EMP helps too. Skewed hitting sleeps too onto Leave and Shy on Rialto. Was able to get some critical antis. That 3-1 was what really drove this first fight, or one of the first fight wins, I should say, for the Infernal through the high ground. Skewed was a difference maker. We don't usually highlight supports, but that's how much effort and hustle that Skewed put on.
Yeah, Skew's timing with these nanos is also fantastic, like we just saw at the end of Hollywood. Getting that nano onto Fixer before the EMP hit was critical to make sure that Sombra could not stay and actually do good on the damage that could have been given over there. And look at the timing on this nade to make sure that Shy gets executed in good time. Brutal from Skew.
This was a really fun match. I came into this with the expectation that we were going to get a mirror of double flanker in that Spark, because this is like the composition they run the most in APAC, that they were going to beat down Seoul Infernal. But Seoul proved that not only are they the better flanker team, but they're also incredibly flexible. Seoul won against Guangzhou Charge, who is still the first place team, not playing any Sombra at all. It was MN3's Hanzo and the Ashe, but the backline, Skewed including this, is what makes Seoul Infernal stay together, stay coordinated, to get this overlook of the fight, to have these anti-grenades in the neutral fights when you don't have ultimates, is what makes Seoul Infernal win more fights than Hangzhou and every other team.
And Skewed is having to step out of the shadow. For so long on the LA Gladiators, this flex support was having to play Brigitte, having to play second fiddle to Shu, who many considered the legend, the best to do it on the Baptiste and on other heroes as well. But now Skewed has finally had his chance to get onto a team where he is the one the backroom trusts. He is not the second fiddle nor the replacement, both the Alpha and the Omega. Skewed is going to be the starter for the whole damn way down for the Seoul Infernal.
Well, we have an interview with Zest, so let's listen in with our translator, Unknown.
Congrats on your win. Thank you.
3위에 랭크가 되어 있는 그런 항저우 스파크라서 오늘 전체적인 승부를 좀 어떻게 좀 아니야 우리가 가볍게 이길 수 있다 쪽으로 예상하셨어요? 아니면 오늘
So, how do you think of today's match? Is this something that we can just brush this off, or was this a hard match going into today's match? I think everything was under control except Lijiang Tower, but thankfully Lijiang Tower went well, so I think the game was okay. So in Lijiang Tower, you used Zarya Reaper, a comp that you didn't usually use. Is there like a reason, or did somebody call that out? Well, some of the older members of the team thought that it was a good idea. So, and this was actually a comp that we have not used before. Like, this was not a practice comp, but we just decided on the go. And all we decided was that we're gonna use Zarya and Reaper to counter their comp, and thankfully it went very well.
그냥 머릿속에만 그렸다가 이게 약간
So basically, this was a theory-crafted comp.
이런 걸 하고 나와서 정말 보여줬단 얘긴가요?
So you're telling me that you just used a theory-crafted comp on an official match and won?
근데 그
Yeah.
POT는
Wow.
지금 스큐터 선수가 총 4번 중에 3번이나 받았어요. 그래갖고 어떻게 하다 보니까
So Scoot took a lot of the POTMs, and so Zest, you had you were the unfortunate victim of not getting any POTMs. Do you have any comments on that?
제가 딱 한 번 받을 수 있을 만한 경기가 있었는데
There was this one match that I could have got the player of the match, but I mean, our teammates were doing so well, and Skewed was doing so well. So I mean,
저희 MG 듀오가 좀
oh well. So our MZ duo, the DPS duo, needs to, I guess, step it up a little bit, I guess.
기세가 정말 모든 팀들 중에서 가장 좋지 않나라고 생각이 드는데
The recent form of Infernal is actually really well. It's really high, sky high. Is the atmosphere like really good at the team?
진짜 되게 많은 거 얻었거든요. 너무
So after the loss against the Dynasty, like we learned a lot, like we felt a lot of things, and just like there were kind of these moments of, I guess, these moments of fortitude that we got, and it really helped us go through the next matches. So, just if you didn't go against the Seoul Dynasty in your first match, how would the season go? I mean, if that didn't happen, I guess we would have won every match, I guess?
다 끝나서 이제 너가웃 스테이지로 가게 되는데 너가웃 스테이지 이제 컨텐츠 팀들도 올라오잖아요.
So now you're moving to the knockout stage where you also meet contenders teams. Do you have any teams that you are kind of looking forward to, or do you have any worries about?
아직까지 잘 모르겠고 컨텐츠랑도 많이 다 안 해봐가지고 잘.
I'm not really particularly concerned. Mostly because I haven't played with a lot of them yet. Maybe O2. I think O2 might be a little bit okay. But other than that, I don't particularly have any particular thoughts.
네.
But we'll be preparing against every team thoroughly.
중요하고 예 그런데 지금 현재의 분위기를 계속 만들어 나가는 것도 중요하잖아요. 지금 계속 저희가 경기 중계를 들으면서 생각한 건 서울 인페르널이 경기를 하면 할수록 점점 더
So what I noticed about the Seoul Infernal is that after, like, with each coming match, that I can feel the energy flowing through the players, and it's actually growing through each match. Is there something like something positive going on the team, or?
딱 정신 빡 차리면서 저희가 원래 연습 경기에서 되게 잘했는데 딱 그날.
Well, I mean, after the Dynasty match, because we were kind of like kind of on alert because the atmosphere on the team was actually pretty good, and we were doing well in the scrims, and we just had that loss out of the blue. So after that, we just kind of grouped up together, regrouped, and then we're on a very good note.
거기에서 상하이가 이겨야
So on the next match, which is the Charge versus the Dragons need to win in order for Infernal to have a chance to be on top. Do you have any messages for the Shanghai Dragons?
상하이 선수분들 제발 광주 딱 한 번만 이겨주세요.
Shanghai Dragons, I don't care if it's just one time, just this one time. Please beat the Charge for us, please.
어떻게 팬들에게 본인을 조금 더 제스트는 이런 사람입니다. 이렇게 확실하게
Well, do you have any words to appeal to the fans that like I'm Zest, I'm this kind of person?
다들 귀엽다고 해주시고 다들 감사하고.
I mean, I thank all the fans for telling me that I'm cute. I've never thought of myself as a cute person, but
그냥 장난 잘 치는 사람.
well, I'm just a silly young man. Well, but thank you for all the support.
막상 본인에 대해서 얘기하려 그러니까 뭔가 막 안 떠오르죠.
Well, now, I mean, you're kind of in a loss for words now that you have to describe about yourself, huh?
이런 기회가 있으면 우리 그 시청자 여러분들 그리고 오버워치의 팬들에게 다른 선수 다 기억나지 않을 정도로
I mean, self-PR is actually a really important thing these days. So I recommend that you prepare something that the fans can remember out of all the Overwatch League players. That there's a player called Zest. I'll definitely have something prepared for that next time. Again, congrats for your win. Thank you. Bye bye. Back to the desk.
Well, that was a fun interview. It's cool to hear that the Zarya Reaper composition wasn't something they practiced. They're not worried about teams from the Pro-Am. And after a 4-match win streak, just the Seoul Infernal are feeling so good.
Yeah, Seoul Infernal feeling real good, feeling real confident and ready to go up against anyone who would dare to present themselves. O2 Blast, we might prep a little bit for them, but I don't think we're going to be dropping anything over there, Lemon.
Quick thing, Guangzhou, if they 3-2 win, it will be a tie in map differential. And you heard it in the interview, if Shanghai Dragons win, that'll be first seed to the Seoul Infernal. That match is coming up next.